Welcome back to 13.3 Prep Organization, the Dream Team. I'm standing here with Brian MacKenzie, Diane the Carl Paoli. We're going to continue our conversation, but we thought maybe this year we'd take a little bit, this week a little bit differently, maybe have a little kind of open conversation about what we're seeing. Now, did this last year. It was awesome. These guys are happy to know that I knocked my teeth out last year. I had a fake tooth and I knocked it out.
I have a photo. Look on my Instagram.
Oh. It's going up now.
I had my wife hold my teeth. There were some people from out of town. They were shocked. The rumor went around. They're like, "You knocked your teeth out doing wall balls," and I was like, and I kept going. So here's the deal. We all know that wall balls suck. It was worth it. Now, the conversation I think is worth having is that if we use this as a diagnostic tool, all I'm doing is really front squatting a little bit. So the torso, for me, the upright torso demands are high. I'm removing a little bit of connection, and all of a sudden I just have to arrive in the bottom position in the most efficient way possible. And what the conversation and consensus amongst us is that whoever is the most efficient and has the most energy to get to the muscle ups is probably going to win this thing, right?
Correct.
So for me, my thinking on this thing is, I don't have to go all the way down and receive a big load today.
Right.
So my squat choice doesn't have to be necessarily relegated to I have to be in a position to squat all the way down. All I have to do is get hip crease below the knee. So for me, that means I'm probably going to move my stance out a little bit, and then that allows me to keep my torso upright and create a little bit more capsular bounce and more adductor bounce so I can be a little bit stronger in the bottom position. Why are you shaking your head at me, bro? So the key is, for me, is that if I can move you out and get you out of kind of your all-purpose squat, I can save a lot of your legs and put this right back into your hips. So what I'm going to ask for people to do is say, hey, why don't you explore with your hip range, find a stance where you can easily hit hip crease below the knee, and you'll find that it's pretty strong. Because if I can save your quads 5%, 10%, you know this is going to affect your double unders, you know it's going to affect your other positions. The other piece is, the powerlifters figured out that staying wide allowed me to keep my torso upright, and that torso uprightness is a real advantage in that bottom shape. For me, the points of performance are, I want to be able to create a good shape off of the wall ball. People forget that soft receiving position or soft front rack in that ball means that my upper back rounds and I get soft. That gets expensive, puts it on my quad. So I want to try to receive the ball, and I like it kind of somewhere. Kristen puts it right here. I clearly put it on my teeth. If I have tooth contact with the ball, it seems really well. But then I really want to see every single rep look the same. I want this breathing piece about keeping upright. So I'm going to spend a lot of time prepping my hips, doing sort of some of these classic openers where I just spend a lot of time making sure that I can in fact get all the way down with knees out in a stable position. I'm also going to spend just a little bit of time working my thoracic spine, and we can even link to some of those things through MobilityWOD. Any thoracic prep, but the thing that I think is so sneaky and that surprised me last year was the tricep. And that as I got tired, I noticed that my elbows were going out wide. It was a really inefficient push. I caught a little bit lower, and I think that when people are not looking at their hamstrings, i.e. their triceps, and I would spend a few more minutes smashing your triceps to be ready because I'm going to need those things later on. So my points of performance, let's move the stance out wider. Let's get your torso upright so you can receive this position, because for me, the more efficient I am in the wall balls, it leaves me more fun for the double unders and everything else. That's the way I think this game is going to go.
I think all great points. I think what we have to consider is the fact of where is your fitness level in consideration with this workout.
Oh, is that? Yeah, I guess it matters.
And because what will happen is these things start to occur where the elbows do start to come out, I start to come forward, I start to overextend in the bottom, and I start bottoming me out now. Like I've got some big lift going on and I'm Olympic weightlifting, but I don't. So I'm taking off tension, I'm starting to bottom out, trying to bounce out of that, and all of a sudden I've got this really wicked wall ball going on with my quads filling up. And I've set myself up going into the double unders overextended, knees banging together. Now I've got to stop with the double unders, then I'm pretty screwed when I head into the...
You mentioned screwed. I should probably say that my thinking is that when this is in the air, I get a moment of resetting my position. I'm unloaded for a second, which means those people who are cranking, if you can just take a second when the ball's here, just stretch your neck out under 6 minutes, that'll change your life. Oh, you're not going to lose any shape just by making sure that your neck's not cranked for 6 minutes. And also, when that's in the air, I'm going to screw my feet into the ground. I don't have to create tons of tension, but I'm just going to create a path for me to drop into the bottom position. So if I'm up at the top trying to minimize this position, this broken position. Squeezing my butt helps me to take the tension out of my neck. I can look up, I concentrate, screw my feet into the ground, and I just fall into that bottom shake. It's pretty easy.
That's a good point. And if we do catch ourselves as we're going through this, you know, you should have a plan going into this, knowing what your carrying time is. If you've done carrying, or if
what's your carrying time?
Nope.
What's your carrying time?
Come on.
What's your best carrying time?
It was 8 minutes.
We're coaches. We're coaches. We're coaches.
All right, but here's the thing: is you should have an understanding of what wall ball is going to do to you, when it's going to, when you're going to break down, so that you have the idea of, hey, am I going to go 150 wall ball straight here?
Totally.
Probably not, unless your name might be Rich Froning or Annie Thorsdottir or one of these. Even with what we just saw, like with Telena Fortunato and Kristen Clever, where, you know, last year Telena was kind of crumbling on this workout from what I understand, and now she's got a better position, she's been coached, she's more efficient, she was more effective in the workout.
And those guys are doing it at altitude.
Yeah, and she was at altitude. So she beat her time last year, she beat what she did last year, she was at altitude, moving in a better position, was more cost effective for her, and they both had plans of when they were going to stop. She had a set plan of when they really were, I need to stop, versus just trying to blow through this thing and melt yourself down and go into those double unders and then be crushed.
Should you save one in the tank?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's what I'm thinking with the workout here. 150 wall balls, you definitely can't take it for granted. You two have kind of touched upon some really key points of performance for setup in the wall ball. I like that you want to see the feet wider. I want to see a nice rack position with the arms, with the elbows nice and high, right? As far as movement, when I was watching Telena and Clever go through the workout, I honestly thought Telena was going to win it. What I really liked out of her movement was she was calm. This isn't a workout where you need to generate massive amounts of tension, right? So finding a really kind of being in a good shape, being calm, finding a good flow, a good rhythm, and definitely as you're making your way through your wall balls, saving a couple so that you're not blowing it out in the take. Stay with the ball, don't drop the ball. You know, be as efficient as you can is really going to save you. I see the wall ball as kind of a catch-all movement where you can't take it for granted. For different people, it's going to mean different things. Last year when I did this workout, I was going through it. My triceps were getting really blown out, like you said. For our other coach, Roop here, he's like, his ankles, his legs were getting really smoked. For other people, because of the neck position, their neck was getting super smoked. So for different athletes, this is going to mean different things. What I would say with in terms of efficiency in this total movement is just make sure, like Kelly said, you're well prepped, you're warm, and that you're moving fluidly without tons of tension.
How long would you warm up for this?
I would probably warm up with the wall ball.
Right? Truth!
But
how long do you think it's warm up?
I'm saying 15-20 minute warm up, you know, doing some aerobic work to get into it. I would actually probably maybe even do a few little snatches or even heavy kettlebell stuff, getting ready for that, not just going in and grabbing like a 20-pound, for the men, grabbing a 20-pound ball. I like preloading things a lot with my athletes. It's not like it's going to fatigue them if they're fit. It's just getting that that central nervous system stimulated to handle something.
And tissues even open. I mean, after I squat heavy a little bit, I feel better, looser.
Yeah, and we've even seen, there's even been studies that have shown that, like, runners who went out and lifted heavy or did something had a better stimulation. Not a whole lot, but doing something really heavy really before the workout would help. And then doing a few, I would say, high intensity intervals and then cutting it and cooling down before you started, but being really warm and being prepped for this.
I think personally that what's going to happen is that after the 150 wall ball warm up, right, you're going to go into the double under. For the people that are not superhumans like myself, I remember doing the double unders last year and I felt like my shoulders were a little tired. I got a little fatigued, and all of a sudden I jumped up on the rings thinking, oh, no problem, I got this, and it didn't really happen. And I actually regressed, I'm going to say, into a false grip and try to strict this thing, and it just went down the drain really quickly. But I caught on fairly early, and I was like, okay, I just need to stick to skill. So I think the flow and efficiency of the movement carried over the 150 is key. Once you get into the 90 double unders, if you can blow through that, fantastic. But just know that for some people, like myself, getting into the muscle ups is going to feel a little tricky. So that's just something to keep in consideration. Take your time if you have it, walk over there nice and easy. And then on the rings, we posted this last year, and we posted like 150 videos already about muscle up efficiency, but it's thinking about it as almost like a clean and jerk. There should be two pieces to it. There should be a clean, which is basically the muscle up, getting over the rings, and then there should be a jerk, which is the kipping dip. And I can show you a couple of those progressions. Are you going to show any of your mobility stuff, or are you going to just link it straight into?
I think we'll pull up the ideas on our site so people can see it, so we don't have to talk about it now.
Great. Are you going to give a little warm-up piece?
Yeah, let me just give a little warm-up.
Please do.
You know? Go it. Want to do a 10-minute, so we want to start with a 10-minute aerobic, okay? Just get the system going, moving. Then move into either some kettlebell, swings, 3 sets, 10 to 15, really simple. Get a few, prep for those double unders, do some double under work. And then maybe hit a couple, maybe 2 or 3 muscle ups. After that, then what we want to do is do a combination maybe of this exact workout where we go a couple wall balls plus 20 double unders plus 1 muscle up, and transition through that 3 times, but rest 1 to 2 minutes between. That way we're taking ourselves up, we're prepped, ready for the transition of everything, understanding what's going to happen. And the big one that's going to happen here is that wall ball to double under, where we go really fast into double unders, and understanding that position with that double under. And where we start to see people really starting to trip is from that overextended position, okay? And what we want to think about is getting into that best postural position with that double under versus being overextended and out of position when you would follow into that muscle up. So that's my take on the warm-up.
Heading into some efficiency on the muscle up, here are a couple things. One of the things that we usually see is a lot of people just basic push-up stuff. We see people doing push-ups and they initiate the movement with the elbow. That's an exaggeration. But this initiation of the push-up with the elbow usually causes problems in the receiving position. We're receiving short basically with the shoulders right on top of the hands and not getting that full range of motion where we're actually in extension in the bottom of a proper dip. And just doing some good push-ups on the ground by blocking the movement, by just flipping the hands, keeping the hands fairly narrow, just that is going to help you get those shoulders and elbows primed a little bit before you get on the rings. So once you've done that a couple times, you can get over to the rings and we can do a very basic dip balance. And I've talked about this dip balance before. It's very simple. I go into a support position with a band behind me. I don't want to be loaded. And what I'm going to work on is just starting in this support with the elbows locked out, thumbs turned out. I'm going to drop into the bottom of my dip, but in a tucked position. So what I'm looking at here is, can I maintain my center of mass at ring level the whole time? I never want to see that center of mass drop down. I want to keep everything glued in the middle. So if you watch it closely, there's no point in time where I have a drop of the legs. The legs don't land low, they land high. The shoulders come all the way down. And I should be able to pause there at the bottom, where what I'm doing actually is not just balancing, but also eliminating a little bit of tension. So I'm actually going into less relative extension in the shoulder. So that's number one, a couple of dip balances. Second piece is, do you understand doing the muscle up with no false grip by utilizing skill? Here are the steps, very basic. We talked about this before. First one, can I elevate just my legs, just that? This elevation of the legs, we see this in the front portion of the swing of the muscle up. Second piece, once I'm there, without breaking the horizon, meaning I should always be able to see the wall in front of me or even the floor in front of me. I should be able to snap my hips there. So I go toes, big hip. That hip snap should be so aggressive that it makes you rise. Now, if you're in a correct position as you snap your hips up, you'll feel that you're already falling. That fall will actually take you into a bit of a, almost like a get up, little ninja get up. So we're here, toes, hips. It takes me over. That's that falling feel. I'm gonna utilize that fall, and what I'm gonna do is basically just pull the heels to my butt, bring the chest to my thighs. What that's gonna do is gonna accelerate the speed of the transition, and it's gonna allow me to finish in that same little dip balance that we just started with. Once you get into that position, that's like receiving a heavy clean. From there, what I'm gonna proceed to do is an efficient kipping dip. I wanna think about the kipping dip as a jerk. It's not a push press. It's not this. Press. It's not that. It's a quick drive of the hips, quick lock out of the elbows. So it's the same thing as me getting under a weight, trying to lock out the elbows. But in this case, I'm pulling the hips up, locking out the elbows. If I can think about it that way, even though it doesn't happen exactly that way, you will be able to probably knock out your first one, or maybe 30, or who knows, PR. We did it last year. Diane, efficiency on wall ball, diagnostic tool.
Well, like I said, it's a catch-all. If you fuck up, oops, F-bomb.
$100.
If you mess up on the wall ball, it's gonna come back and bite you in the butt, in your double unders, and especially your muscle ups. Stay efficient.
Remember, keep your teeth and smile.